And a good morning to all of you. And Mark, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It really always flatters me, and I'm very grateful for it. And Adria, congratulations again. Yes, it is, in my view, the top HR conference on the African continent. And it's wonderful to see so many people on the pre-conference. So it's wonderful to be here today. The title of my talk is Global Reward Trends, and we cannot ignore the impact of COVID. So, a big COVID emphasis. And the broad themes that I'm going to be covering are, for example, things like job evaluation. What's happening to job evaluation? How do you do job evaluation in a work from anywhere environment? The next big theme is performance management. There's so much happening out there that I thought, let me make a definitive peg in the ground and share how organizations are embracing performance management in this hybrid workspace. We're moved into a very hybrid method of working, not just at work, but at schools and universities, and what are they doing. We also are going to touch on short-term incentives. That's your bonus scheme, your performance sharing, gain sharing, and your long-term incentives. That's your share plans, your restricted stock, share appreciation rights. COVID, of course, brought very tough times on everybody, and organizations that performed poorly wanted to retain their top executives. So I'll cover some trends as to how they did that, given that most of the share schemes where you perform poorly were underwater, and also given that some organizations absolutely shot the lights out. If you take some of the IT companies and you take Netflix as an example, do you pay 5 or 6 or 7 times the annual salary as a bonus, where you had very strong tailwinds and you didn't naturally do it all yourself? So those are the broad themes. We can't leave the broad theme of the pay gap ratio. So there's a vertical pay gap and a horizontal pay gap. The vertical one is the top to the bottom, and the horizontal one is gender. Mostly it has to do with gender. And whilst I'm well, I keep our country in our prayers, because we're going through a very torrid time at the moment, and some of it has to do with unemployment, and some of it has to do with extremely low pay. So the pay gap ratio touches on HR, it touches on governance, and I'll be sharing some envisaged changes to Section 30A of the Companies Act, where it's at the moment going to go to Parliament, and then it'll go out for public consumption. So I'll give a heads up there. But what could HR be doing to create employment and to address this pay gap? And how should we be reporting on it? Because sometimes when you report on something, you make it more explicit than implicit. So those are the big themes that I'll be covering. And why should you attend this session? You know, what's the practical importance to you? Well, I mean, everybody gets paid. So it absolutely touches on every single employee and employer. It touches your pocket. Most of us are reading so many different articles on remuneration trends that we've lost a bit of track as to what is fake news, what is true, what is not true, what is a wish list. And the main reason for attending this is I'll share with you very definitively what organizations are doing here in South Africa, on the African continent, and globally. I'm lucky enough to sit on a board in America, and we do a lot of research there on what is happening globally. So I'll be sharing some of those trends as well. Other than that, yes, I will be giving some books for giveaways and prizes for the best questions and the best participation. And Adria, you can make a note of that, and Mark, you can make a note of that. No problem. This year there'll be lots of books and lots of prizes. So that's it from me in a nutshell. I look very, very forward to the conference later on in the year, and I look forward to seeing you all, and I hope you have lots of questions. I'll shorten the presentation this year and lengthen the question time. So I'm looking very forward. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Adrian.